My name is Homework Gaming. How are y'all doing? It's day 10, I think. Yeah, it's Friday, so it's day 10. Today's August 29th, and today I'm gonna finish up the writing that I worked on yesterday. So before I get to my second paragraph, I just wanted to do something here. You may find yourself thinking, I think what I'm gonna add is I'm gonna make this about me, right? Or something like if I had paid attention in school, I have read, paid, making unbiased Western blood responsible for this knowledge. Many people likely made this mistake out of innocence rather than malice, considering. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. Second paragraph. Let's go. Individual Western descent. How do I feel? Right. I feel disappointed that I feel disappointed that this class was my first hearing on any of this. Right. I felt quite disappointed upon realizing. How the fuck do you spell that? Was my first hearing on the matter. It was my first hearing on the matter. Because it goes to show the power to show that culture power. Could I call white a culture? I know that sounds kind of out of taste, but I don't consider myself to have culture. I'm not sure what culture. Sorry, this is for web design. What I was saying was that I want to say I don't consider myself to have culture, but then again, I don't know exactly what it means to have culture. Everyone, okay, yeah. So that makes sense. Sorry, I just didn't know exactly if saying white culture was out of taste or not. But I could say yeah. So you'll show that cultural power. Cultural, not cultural power, cultural advantage. It's not it. Like cultural and verb or or deval. Did I just see? I'm sorry. Did I just? Did I just see the Grimace meal on my homepage? Here, there's Grimace. Somebody, I swear, somebody had a fucking Grimace meal and everything was purple. Whatever, I'll just watch the footage back. You guys will see it. Okay. So that cultural, I guess I could say devaluation? Valuation. Process of determining the current projected value of a company. So what if I say devaluation? Yeah, this doesn't really work. Fuck. What word? What word? Cultural value takes a lot to back value to when group has the to I think okay as an individual of Western descent, I felt quite disappointed upon realizing this is my first okay. Any of the matter. Any of this? As an individual of Western descent, I felt quite disappointed knowing this was my first hearing on any of this because it goes to show that cultural value takes a lot to bring back. Wait, what? Cultural value takes a lot. Okay, yeah, I have to fix it, right? Because it doesn't make sense. Okay, I just have to. It goes to show that cultural value takes a lot to bring back. Remove it. Okay, what? How could I continue that? Alright, so I have to like get a quote. Do I have that downloaded? That's not it. That's web design. That's like the third time I opened that up by accident. Okay. I would like to make a quote to Sandra Harding. So I want to make a connection to where like it took counter history to finally understand that the West appropriated all the knowledge gained from other places. Doing good. Counter histories. Okay, I think I'll pause here so that I'll find a source I'll find a quote to quote in my thing. So I found something that I would like to quote. Moreover, concepts such as the Dark Ages, the European Scientific Revolution, and the so-called Renaissance miracle also contribute to Western ignorance. Actually, I don't know. Let me keep reading. I think I do know what I'm going to quote now. There's a piece in Harding's text that talks about a woman who was responsible for a lot of biological knowledge. Here we go. Yeah. Maria Sibylla Merian and her daughter. 2 years investigating life cycles of caterpillars in Dutch tropical colony, South America. Life ingredients. Would successfully overturn the still prevailing view that caterpillars and butterflies are species. Yeah, so I want to quote this because it stood out to me how like Western science also like incorporated like sexist and racist beliefs into what they were already appropriating, right? Or actually, no, they were already doing that though. Because the knowledge they pretend that they gain it's from all around, it's all from all different races, from different ethnicities and whatnot, and different sexes, and I don't I mean, I could say it stood out to me that like racism and sexism were at all incorporated in the appropriation of knowledge. I could say that, and then I could use this as well as let's see here. The third source was How Science Warps Scientific Truths. Do I have that downloaded? No. Okay. I think that may have some examples. Yeah. Yeah, racism is extremely prominent in colonial science. I could talk about how it started with like appropriating gained science knowledge of other ethnicities, and then it evolved into like using that appropriated science to support racist beliefs, white supremacism. Because there is in this text, there is an example of old white doctors who kind of like they came up with a mental illness that was used to describe slaves who like rebelled against slavery, because that's just what they were saying. They're saying that like black people refusing slave work meant that they were mentally ill. But yeah, I think I'll do that. What does this mean? No, I want to keep it. Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'll change it. Who's... Oh, actually, hold on. Supports the idea. Supports the idea that value takes a lot to make money. Yeah. Particularly not interesting. Well, I mean, it is interesting, but I think a different word would fit well there. Excuse me. I'm gonna go plug in. I'm gonna plug in this laptop. Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay. Alright, I got the plug into the outlet that's behind the shelf. Now I can plug it in. Boom. There we go. What I find particularly upsetting, I think, yeah, upsetting is a nice way to describe how I feel about it, is that what began with sexist and racist ideologies to actually, yeah, that is not how you spell it. Maybe embedded? Embedded. Ah, okay. Is this thing running? Oof, for a second I thought it was paused. And to suppress knowledge by woman. I think that's, and then I could do Harding Whoops. This is not Harding. Counter histories. What year must this have been written in? Counter histories. Let's see here. Let's see. (2011). 2011. Okay. I see. Is that how you, is it or is it just a comma? And that's I think that properly references Harding, right? I mean, it's not a direct quote, and I may be wrong, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a direct quote. Knowledge, maybe, hold on. Nourished. That's a juicy word. Can you do a, hold on. I need to know, can you do a comma after a bracket? Generally acceptable in the closing bracket, the back test sentence. Yeah, why is shit popping up? Okay, if it's a dependent clause, then no punctuation should be included. I see. I'm gonna use stolen. I haven't used stolen yet. Scientific data to justify. To justify no, I said that already. I said pre-established. I can't say. Let's see synonyms for justify. For to rationalize. Rationalize may be good. Substantiate. Vindicate. Uphold. Okay, hold on. Rationalize the belief that the white race. Okay. Wait, dude, my friend just bought a game that she didn't have before. I convinced her to buy it. Oh, dude, I gotta tell her she's in the video. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, is this now stolen scientific data? You're now using stolen scientific data from said ethnic groups to rationalize belief that they were inferior to the right race. Yes. Sorry, I meant white. I think I said right by accident. That's kind of bad. From said ethnic groups to then to rationalize Wait, what did I say before? The let's see, belief synonym. Belief synonym. Synonym roles. Speculation. Surmise. The notion. Let's see notion. Exceptional belief about something. There she is again. Okay, I'll use notion. They are inferior to the white race. And that would be quoting Abaki Beck. Beck. Let's see here. What year did they write that? 2017. Where is it? There it is. And do you put a period after parentheses? Okay, if the parenthesis contains a complete sentence, the period goes inside in parentheses. In APA, placement is crucial. Periods go inside parentheses. I see. Okay. Something like that then? Or maybe not. As an individual of Western descent, I felt quite disappointed knowing this was my first hearing on any of this, because it supports the idea that value takes a lot to bring back my dominant group as a constant part of the movement. What I find particularly upsetting is that what began with embedded sexist race ideologies to suppress knowledge nourished by women and ethnic groups evolved into using the now stolen scientific data from said ethnic groups to then use it using hold on, wait a minute. To using the now stolen scientific to rationalize the notion that they are inferior to the white race. I think maybe, hold on. For Harding, I think I may bring up namely Maria Spiller Marion. And she was, what's her title? What title is her profession? And I could bring up that she learned from indigenous women about the insects as well. Okay, what is the one? in the study of insects. So I guess, yeah, she'd be a botanist, botanical entomologist. Namely, and entomologist. I think I'm okay. I'm gonna prevent this from spilling into the third page by removing. I think I'll remove counter histories. So it's like, whoa, the fuck. Sorry. Harding and Beck. So engage. I'll remove engage and connect sources. Personal and reflection. Okay, I'll remove these two as well. What stood out to me. Okay, yeah, I can. Okay, I just need to make sure to quote Amy Christensen. Yep. Okay. So I've got room here. Let's see how. 316 words, so that's good. But I still have more that I want to write. But I'm not sure exactly what I want to write. I just know that I have more to say. I'll take some time to think about it. I'll pause the video. I'm back. I think I want to bring up the idea that like somebody could read on these articles and make the argument of like, oh well, we've got all this knowledge now at our disposal, so why does it matter? And the reason why it matters is because not only has the appropriation of all the knowledge negatively affected like the value of ethnic groups, but also it's been somewhat of a detriment to everybody, including the Westerners. Because, for example, right, I thought about Amy Christensen's podcast, or guest starring on a podcast. She talks about, because she's a fire scientist, and she works with like controlled fire. She talks about good fire versus bad fire, and I remembered, right, that indigenous people, indigenous peoples found a way to control fire and make it useful for the environment, right? Because to start a fire means that you're running the fuel around that environment, and fuel grows. Say a forest, for example. Fuel grows in a forest, and over time, stuff may dry and harden and become more flammable, right? So what indigenous peoples discovered is that by starting good fires, you could get rid of like excess fuel that's in the forest and prevent catastrophic wildfires in the future. And so that's what they mean by like good fire versus bad fire. But the thing is that Westerners saw that and thought, nope, you can't do that anymore. After colonizing land that indigenous peoples were already like living in, right? They stole all that land, and then they were like, okay, no, you can't start fires in the forest anymore. It's dangerous because look at what we've learned about fires. And so Western science was under the impression for a long time that any fire in the forest was catastrophic. And so what happened is by suppressing the skills that indigenous fire scientists uh, developed. Where was I going with that? What I was saying is that like after they had those skills and that knowledge suppressed by Western culture, they were no longer able to use that fire knowledge to improve like plant life. And as a result, most forests are jam packed with very very flammable shit, lots and lots of fuel. So now, basically, no matter what, any fire is almost guaranteed to be uncontrollable. So yeah, I want to bring that up somehow. I think yeah. Here's what I'll do. You could argue that now we have all the possible knowledge or this through books that it however suppressed let me do suppressed research conducted by indigenous peoples and other ethnic Westerners implemented but everyone in not everyone. I'll just start keep it there. In the Western education system, was made under the light of colonial science. I don't know where I'm going with that. So, like, say a firefighter goes to college, goes to university, wherever, right? Whatever degrees that they get for firefighting or fire science, it's all earned through the Western education system, meaning that that knowledge gained by indigenous peoples about fire science and other ethnic groups is not present in that education system. Okay, yes, meaning that For example, aren't present in the immune system. And consider, for instance, Dr. Amy Christensen. Indigenous scientist who has studied carefully on fire and its benefits for plant life. Controlled fire is not taught in any field of Western education on account. Is it on account or on account? Fuck. Oh, okay, so it is on account. I think I was always saying on account. Of inclusion on account of science deeming unreliable or without value. I think I will. And what year would that be? 2021. A result, a majority of forests in Canada are now riddled with very flammable fuel, increasing the risk of the catastrophic. That was once solved by using controlled fires to deplete the amount of fuel. Develop. Woods. That's good. Okay, let's read from the start of this paragraph. As an individual of Western descent, I felt quite disappointed knowing this was my first hearing on any of this, because it supports the idea that value takes a lot to bring back. What's the opposite of dominant? I would like to add that. And don't say submissive. Presiding? Well, no. I could say minority. Yeah, I could do minority. Wait, no, okay, that minority value takes a lot to bring back. I think I'll do. Group has the constant power to bury it again. I think I'll do just so it resurface, bury, and bury. What I found particularly upsetting is what began with embedded sexist ideologies to suppress knowledge and respect women and groups, namely scientists and much. It evolved into using the now stolen scientific data from said ethnic groups to rationalize the notion that they are inferior to the white race. You could argue that now that we have all possible knowledge at our disposal through books and internet, that it doesn't matter in the end. However, having suppressed research conducted by indigenous peoples and other ethnic groups under suppressing the research conducted by indigenous peoples and other ethnic groups, Westerners have. Okay, I just realized that says detrimented. No! It's not that. Detriment in verb form. The verb form of detriment is detriment. Okay, so why the fuck is this not working? Caused a detriment not only to these groups, but everyone. The Western education system was made under the light of colonial science, meaning that the knowledge gained by indigenous scientists aren't present in the system. Consider, for instance, Dr. Amy Christensen, an indigenous fire ecologist and fire scientist who has studied heavily on controlled fire and its benefits on plant life. Controlled fire is not taught in any field of Western education on account of Western science deeming indigenous fire science as unreliable, incorrect, or without value. Christensen, 2021. As a result, most forts in Canada are now riddled with very flammable fuel, increasing the risk of catastrophic fires, a problem that was once solved by using controlled forest fires to deplete the amount of fuel developed naturally in the woods. Yeah. And that's what? 487. I think if I do one more concluding sentence, I will be goated. I do something like it goes without saying. It goes without saying that what? What exactly? Fuck, dude. Can't think for the life of me. Okay, I'm gonna think again. I'll be back. It goes without saying that majority supremacy goes hand in hand with the long majority of scientific technology discovery. But I think I want to put in there somehow that appropriation was present as well. Also, maybe find a way to put this all on the same page. Perhaps layouts. And the size? No. Margins. Narrow. There we go. Yeah. Moderate. Yeah, this works. This works. Oh. Ooh, I should also justify all this. Yes. Yes. That took a lot. That took like a whole line off of there. Maybe I don't need to have it like that. It's like just perfect. But it's not, because there's stuff I want to add still. So, yeah. It goes without saying that majority supremacy in history as well as counter, maybe I could say like, but it's not a word, it's just a thing. Fuck. Sorry, my leg just hit the desk. I think it goes hand in hand with the long history of scientific discovery. Let's see what I could say instead of appropriation. There we go. I don't know. I don't fucking know. just realized this is wrong. No, this doesn't really make sense. Because you don't need racism to discover stuff. It's just that, like, goes hand in hand with the noun formed. Okay, let's see here. Synonym for facade. Illusion? Is the illusion of Western scientific discovery. Bam! It goes without saying that majority supremacy goes hand in hand with the now formed delusional miracle that is the explosion of Western scientific discovery. Fuck my ass, I'm gay. Sorry. But, yeah, I think this will work. I like this. It's good. Well, I think it's good. I don't know, maybe it's bad. But I think it's good. So I'm gonna end it there. I'll see you guys, it's Labor Day next Monday. So I may skip that day, I may not, I don't know, because I do have work, I still have work to do. And I plan on continuing it, but I don't know if I'm going to plan to continue that on Monday or Tuesday. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, you fucking fuckers. Bye.